Yes.
Say another thing and delineate a very clear boundary. Even though Dr. Falcone does have a history of bipolar disorder, this is not in any way related to his sexual relationship with patients. So I want to make sure the board is clear about that. At this point, no, there had not been a suspension of his license. It was deemed that he could practice with males only, and while he was in a state prison, I had no concerns. I'm sorry, while he was practicing in a state prison, I had no concerns, and that would be working with male patients only in the state prison. I am not here in any way stating that my position has changed since then. I think there was a specific question: is he rehabilitatable? That the possibility is there. He has been, again, we're not at the position to say any more than that, except again, he's safe while he's practicing with male patients in the state penitentiary.
Dr. Falcone, would you like to?
Would you like to briefly address the board before the board members?
He would like to respond to questions.
Okay, very well. Board members? Mr. Mullins.
I couldn't help but hear from Dr. Palm that you were safe while practicing with male patients in a correctional environment, and we heard this morning that you won't be doing that as of this week. And so I wanted to know more about your plans before we move forward to find out how Dr. Palm's caveat there applies to your future.
Right now, I would be taking a hiatus from practicing until an appropriate employment can be found. I would work with PRN. So we wouldn't take anything unless it was run by the board and PRN as well, to be deemed appropriate. And then I would apply for the job. Right now I'm aware of nothing. Things were working out very well. Where they were, there were no problems there for a year and a half. But again, this situation was called to the attention of people pretty high up in the Department of Corrections, and they proceeded as they did, I understand. Again, I would be practicing without, wouldn't apply for a job until I had run it by PRN and through the board if allowed.
I'd like to go ahead and go to Mr. Tucker to bring up a clarification for us, and then also we need to hear from PSU regarding their recommendations. Mr. Tucker.
And just to remind the board that in this particular case, there is no impairment charge. I know that PRN was brought into this to address a possible impairment issue, but there is no impairment charge in this case. The only charge in this particular case is the being disciplined in another jurisdiction, which was New York. And probably before we go any further, we probably need to address the conclusions of law in this particular case.
I will go forward with that.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that then, department, and then the board will go back and discuss further. Department?
Thank you. And again, I think I failed to introduce myself. I'm Shirley Bates, Assistant General Counsel with the Department of Health. The department offers the investigative report with exhibits, a copy of which has been previously furnished to the board into evidence to establish a prima facie case for the violations alleged in the administrative complaint. The department contends that the board's findings of fact support a finding of a violation of Florida statutes, and at this time it would be appropriate for the board to entertain a motion finding the respondent in violation of Florida statutes as charged in the administrative complaint.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Department?
Thank you. We're going to the penalty stage, and as you know, the disciplinary guidelines list a range of penalties. In this case, the respondent has been charged with a violation of 458.3311B, having been disciplined in another jurisdiction. Under those situations, the guidelines state that the discipline that can be issued in this case can be for imposed on if that substantive violation that he was disciplined for in New York actually occurred in Florida. The substantive violation that he was disciplined for in New York was sexual misconduct, which would equal a violation in Florida of section 458.3311J and or section 456.0721B, sexual misconduct. And the penalty for that violation in Florida ranges from a year's suspension and a reprimand to revocation or denial. In this particular case, the department recommends revocation of the respondent's license due to the facts of that case, which you have before you in the hearing notes from New York. I believe that the department believes that they are egregious enough to warrant revocation in this matter.
Thank you, Department. I know Dr. Tucker had her hand up. Dr. Tucker? Dr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You'll get your chance.
I have a question and a comment. The question is for Dr. Palm. You said that this has nothing to do with his bipolar condition.
That is correct.
So treating his bipolar condition is not going to necessarily prevent this behavior.
That is correct.
I don't see that we have a choice. I mean, we may have disdain for prisoners, but they deserve good health care just as well as human beings. We've got to revoke this license.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker. Mr. Weaver?
The board, for the record, I have to object to consideration of matters that are not within the four corners of the complaint. And the complaint alleges that he lost his license in New York. That's correct. That's why we're here on an informal hearing. But to go into the background beyond that is improper.
Real quickly though, the PRN evaluation that was provided, the PRN evaluation that was provided by you and your client go into the background in and of itself of what happened in New York.
And to the extent that it's already in the record.
Right, it's already in the record, you provided it.
I understand that.
Okay.
But we did not provide the details from the New York proceedings.
Okay, all right.
Dr. Rosenberg?
If he's not qualified to practice in New York, he shouldn't be qualified to practice here, so I'd like to make a motion to revoke his license.
Is there a second? Board members? All right, any further discussion? All those in favor for revocation, please raise your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those opposed?
May I be heard?
Motion passes.
Me.
Mr. Weaver?
May I be heard?
Second.
We're asking the board to stay the revocation. Dr. Falcone will voluntarily discontinue practice. I'd like to ask Dr. Palm to tell us whether or not a reevaluation of Dr. Falcone is in order, and if it is, then we would like to reappear here with Dr. Palm before the board after a further evaluation.
Mr. Toche?
Well, if you take an appeal, Mr. Weekly, it's automatically stayed because it's revocation under 120.
Understood.
Okay? I mean, it's up to the board whether they want to rehear this later on, but this is final agency action right now. And procedurally, the other issue procedurally, his next step would be to go ahead and take an appeal on this matter. This would be somewhat unusual for you to have him come back on this issue.
Well, there's been a motion, it's been passed for revocation, now we'll go to cost and the case will be concluded. Department?
Well, he requested that for a stay, so I think it'd be appropriate for you to respond to that.
Do we need to?
Move to deny.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that's denied. Department cost?
Thank you. Pursuant to section 456.072 for Florida statutes, petitioner has filed a motion to assess the cost of investigation and prosecution for this case. 2008-23336. At this time, it would be appropriate for the board to entertain a motion and enter a final order assessing costs against the respondent in the amount of $943.88.
So moved.
Second. Okay, Mr. Weekly, would you like to respond to that cost motion?
No, sir.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, cost passed. And this concludes this case. Next, let's go ahead and move on to